I'm taking a strap. I'm strapped up.
Seven, what was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 132 of the SZN Podcast. I'm your boy Kam.
I'm your boy Flowz.
And as always, guys, you know the rules by now. Please head over to SZN Pod, which is our Twitter page, or SZN Podcast, which is our IG page. There's a link in the bio on both of those pages there, and I'll take you to where we're situated at streaming-wise. So we've got the audio links, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you want the visuals, the YouTube link is also there on that channel too. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Flowz, I'm bored, man. I was telling you before we start recording, man, this is just, obviously you've got all the hoo-ha out the way from obviously the influencer thing from what happened last week. But, you know, I've been looking forward to us getting back to talking about real boxing again, which we will obviously, but it's like there's been a complete lack of blockbuster fights and I'm bored. Like, where are the big fights at, man? Where are the fights that get me out of my seat and, you know, get the juices flowing? At the moment, there isn't any. The most one I can think of that's coming is what, later on this month in Benavidez plant. But until then, we're kind of stuck with these kind of iffy cards, Flowz. Let's put it bluntly. I don't want to poo on the cards, but it's just not. It's not getting me excited. You get me?
It's not the best be the best. We're not saying that. We're saying good. We're having some good fights. There's some good matchups, but we're not seeing the best be the best.
It's not the blockbusters.
Yeah, we're not.
So we'll promise blockbusters at the start of the year, kind of. But I guess to be fair, you know, start of the year, so that, you know, you got to warm up through the quarters, and obviously we know towards the latter half of the year, that's when they tend to make the huge fights for the money, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, I was just hoping there'll be some other big fights to keep us going till now, but we haven't really got them as of yet. I'm still saying, for me, the best fight I've seen this year is still probably Yard Beterbiev that I can think of right at the moment. So, but yeah, hopefully these other fights are coming up, you know, get us excited again.
Like you obviously, you see Jared Hurt get beat. Jared Hurt fought and got beat.
Yep.
Shocking. So he might as well pack it in.
He's got to go, man. Wait, bully Jared Hurt, man. It's
He's got to go. Like this is not the rubbish. To be fair to Brandon Figueroa and Mark McSide, that was a good fight. That was a decent fight. But once again, it's not a blockbuster. Yeah, it was a good scrap. We know what to expect from them, man. Anyway, they're gonna show up, but we're not getting the fights we really want to see. Yeah,
man, we're not getting them. And even the ones that get made, which on paper are fights we want to see, we're skeptical in the sense that, is this really going to get made? Is this really actually official? So we'll see. But there was nothing for us to review from what happened last weekend Flowz that just went. But obviously there are some cards for us to preview this upcoming week. I think it's fair we might as well start from what's going on over here in the UK. It's a shame because Callum Smith was meant to be fighting this weekend, guys. I think he was fighting a Polish guy. Obviously he's up at light heavy, isn't he now? So he's looking for a title shot, and I think he's actually in line to fight Beterbiev. I think he's like next up in terms of Beterbiev. Is it Bivol? I thought it was Beterbiev. I thought it was Beterbiev.
It might be one of the two. He's mandatory for one of them.
Yeah, I thought Beterbiev. It could be Bivol, but yeah, my thinking was that it was Beterbiev. But yeah, so he's obviously keeping busy, etc., and obviously waiting around for that to be ordered. But he was meant to be fighting. He was meant to headline this card. I think it's in Liverpool as well. But unfortunately, he had to pull out with injury, which is a shame. So he's no longer going to be on the card. There's a bunch of other standard matchroom guys on this card, such as Campbell Hatton, Johnny Fisher. But I thought it was just worth mentioning because there's a guy on the card who's now headlining the card. He's a guy that we actually put on our wants to watch list, I believe. American fighter called Diego Pacheco. He's up against a British fighter called Jack Cullen. This is for the WBO International Super Middleweight title. It's worth mentioning this, Flowz, because obviously we've mentioned Pacheco before as someone to look out for. I think obviously some of the listeners might not be familiar with him. He's an up and comer, very talented super middleweight fighter. Good, really good size for the division. I think he's about 6'4", great reach, etc. Looks strong. Definitely one to look out for. So this is a great opportunity since in Liverpool for listeners to tune into him and see what he's about, because he's someone that we've earmarked for this year to have a good year. So I know you yourself, Flowz, you're a fan of Pacheco, aren't you?
Yeah, he's young, so there's massive room for improvement. But he's good, like tall. He can box. I think Jack Cullen's been around. I can't remember who.
Yeah,
he's
a couple
faced.
losses now.
Yeah, he's been around. So I don't think Diego Pacheco's beaten anyone of note, really, truly. But once again, he's a prospect.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go through these step ups and tests. So he's one to watch out for. For
the listeners as well, Cullen's fought the likes of John Harden Jr., Felix Cash, Yildirim, so Zach Chelly. So he has been around. That sort of UK circuit for a bit now. 3 losses on his resume. Obviously, this is just maybe, I guess, just a test for, not really a test for Pacheco, but just to move him up in terms of the caliber of opponent he's facing. I guess Cullen's probably going to be there to provide a decent test, give him some rounds, etc. But obviously, we fully expect someone of Pacheco's quality, or we expect him to come through this test quite easily and get the W. But it's a nice little introduction, I guess, to the UK public.
It's a weird one. I
wouldn't have thought he would be on the card. Well, obviously undercard, cool, but obviously now that Smith pulled out, it's like, well, this isn't really going to be a massive draw or whatever, because we don't really know who Pacheco is. But it is where his injuries happen. So, but yeah, that's that for, I guess, that Matchroom card. There is a card on Sky as well, on Boxer. Thanks for reminding me on this one, Flowz, because I completely forgot or missed my mind, maybe because the promo hasn't been great. But there's a card over in France. It's a co-promotion, Boxer and French company over in Paris. And UK's own Dan Aziz has landed himself on the card as a co-main feature, which is always good to see. One thing about Dan Aziz, Flowz, that boy's busy. that boy stays active. So he's fighting the French, I can see he's the French champion, French national champion, Thomas Fourier, who has a record of 21 wins, 4 defeats. I guess not too sure who this Fourier guy is, but I expect Aziz to come through this pretty comfortably, I guess. Again, just highlighting that he's willing to fight anyone and anywhere. So he's gone off to Paris to do this one. So shout out to him. But the main event is, I guess, something that's worth mentioning, Flowz. Tony Yoka is back. His first fight since obviously last year when he lost to Martin Bakoli, which was one of the upsets of the year. I think we obviously mentioned how upsetting it was. But he's going straight into. See, on paper, it might not sound like a tough fight against Carlos Takam in his bounce back, but having seen Takam many, many times and seen how durable Takam is and how game he is, as a bounce back fight, would you say, Flowz, it's a bit risky for Yoka?
Yeah, especially since he just been beaten badly by Martin Bakoli. Badly. Takam's probably finished. Like, let's not say finished, but like he's way past the latter stages of his career. He's not the same Takam. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's had numerous defeats now, Takam.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's still a risk, I feel, with Takam. Yoka should win, no doubt.
Yeah.
But as a bounce back fight, you could have taken a softer touch, I feel, than an experienced Takam. While he definitely doesn't have the tank, he may not have much left to offer. But I think there's more confidence boosting opponents than a Takam. But fair play to him. He should win. Like, he should win quite comfortably, to be honest. But at the same time, there is a risk there with Takam, of course.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's a massive, well, I'm not going to say massive risk, but Takam is definitely over the hill, I would say. He's lost his last 2 fights, 7 losses now. He's been around for a long, long time. And I think it'll go in a way that Takam, obviously, I wouldn't say he's a 12-round fighter anymore. He always, for the last couple of years that we've seen him now, he loses steam. But he does start like a train, and he starts quick. He comes very aggressive, and he's onto you. Obviously, he's a lot smaller than Yoka, so he's going to be on his chest. I want to see how well, especially coming off a loss. And that loss was basically Bakoli just applying hella pressure on Tony Yoka and making him fold by being on his chest. I want to see how Tony Yoka is able to navigate that, because that's what Takam's going to come with. Takam's not going to try and be outboxing him. He's going to try and come forward, bob and weave, and swing heavily and be on Yoka's chest. So I want to know how he navigates that pressure, bearing in mind that that's pretty much how he lost his last fight. But I expect Tony Yoka to weather that storm and fight well on the outside, and eventually Takam will run out of steam. I'm pretty sure of that. But boy, if Tony Yoka doesn't win this, though, Flowz, yeah, it's damning. It's very damning, and he has to take a long, hard look in terms of what he wants to do this boxing game, because back-to-back losses to Bakoli and Takam is, no offense to Bakoli and Takam. I actually think Bakoli is a good fighter. Yeah, but Takam's 30, he's 42 now. You can't be losing for someone that was hyped as Tony Yoka was gold medalist. Yeah, gold medalist at the Olympics. Seen as France's answer to Anthony Joshua. Boy, back-to-back losses to Bakoli and Takam is disastrous, to say the least.
To be fair play to him for taking on, because he's obviously been working on things in the camp, and Takam's probably the perfect person to show, to show what he's been working on in that sense, and he's a name. So yeah, it's a good bounce back if he's got his confidence up. But yeah, he can't lose this one.
This is a must-win fight for Tony Yoka. I can't lie, must win.
If you want title aspirations right now, you guys need to, you got to be serious. You got to start.
Be serious.
You have to. You have to, because those big dogs ain't playing around.
Absolutely. So potential blind skin, potential upset, but I like to think that Tony Yoka's got enough to do with Carlos Takam. I think it'll be a good fight because of the fact that Takam comes to fight and he's aggressive. So yeah, like I said, it'll just be interesting to see how well Yoka navigates that pressure. I think his movement and jab is going to be so key, because you just got to keep Takam on the outside. It'll be easy peasy for him, but you've got to watch out for that overhand. That Takam overhand's heavy. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see. But yeah, that'll be on Sky, obviously free to watch. So it's good to see Aziz and Yoka, see how they navigate with that. This Foray guy, I don't think he knows much about Aziz, but I hope he's ready for a whole world of relentless pressure, because we know what Aziz is like. He's not pretty, but that relentless pressure is tough to deal with.
Is it for the European title? Because I know Dan Aziz was talking about fighting for the European title next. Is it not for anything?
I can check. Hang on.
Because we've praised Dan Aziz for moving that traditional route where he's grabbing everything in order. It might not be for it next, but
it's for the EBU European Light Heavy title. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So once again, that's another belt he's looking to snatch. He's going for the route, isn't he? So yeah. I expect Dan Aziz to come through that. I back him, but obviously it's tough to say when you don't know the opponent too tough. But I expect Dan Aziz to come away with that, and that's another title added to his collection. And he keeps on moving up. So there's one more fight we could talk about for the upcoming week. On Sunday, over in Australia, we've got Tszyu, who's fighting Tony Harrison, who is a favorite on this pod. Shout out to Tony Harrison, friend of the show. We like Tony Harrison a lot. He's given us plenty of entertainment over the years. This was actually meant to be Tszyu challenging Jamel Charlo for Jamel's undisputed titles. Jamel had to pull out with an injury. And instead of cancelling the bout, or just Tim or them sort of, taking the rain check on the bout, Tony Harrison stepped in to take it. And so this will be for the WBC interim. Well, I think one of the organizations interim belts. It'll be for that.
Essentially, it's just more of a keep busy fight for Tim Tszyu, until he gets that Charlo shot again. But really and truly, I guess it isn't, because I believe if Tim Tszyu loses, maybe that puts Harrison in place to get a shot at Charlo and all his belts. So, especially as it's for one of the interim titles. So, huge chance for Charlo. I mean, not for Charlo, for Harrison. Because Flowz, if you think about it, since his defeat to Charlo in 2019, Harrison's kind of wasted his career, if you know what I mean. I say that because very inactive, didn't fight at all in 2020, fought once in 2021 and fought once in 2022. And if you remember, that fight in 2021 was when he had, I think it was a draw, where he had a horrible performance. And it wasn't until last year's performance, 2022, when he got that win, where he looked a bit like his old self. But yeah, he's been very inactive for the last couple of years. As we know, PBC, the fighters don't tend to be active. And I always say, after a loss, the worst thing you can do is be inactive, because you're going to have so much rust and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, we've been seeing him, he's been taking the back seat role, I guess. He traded Alicia Baumgardner, etc., etc. But I really hope that he's prepared hard for this and trained hard for this, isn't it? Because this is almost like a last chance saloon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I really hope that Harrison is prepared for this, because this is probably his last big shot.
Yeah. Tony's had it. Obviously, his father passed away, didn't he? His father was his coach. His father passed away, and I think that's what affected him in the build up to that draw. But he hasn't looked the same in that draw. Even in the Sergio Garcia fight, he didn't look 100%. And the inactivity as well. I worry for Tony Harrison this fight.
Why that?
Well, I think Tim Tszyu could hurt him. And that's not to say Tony Harrison is a bad boxer. Tony Harrison will probably be winning the fight till he gets hurt, but he's been hurt. We've seen him hurt.
That's the story of Tony Harrison, isn't it? Yeah. Where he'd be winning the fight by his boxing, will then get caught. And
so he's going to have to be switched on for 12 rounds. I think this is a step up for Tim Tszyu, and it's a good, what's the term? Middle way between
middle ground.
Yeah. For then going to fight Mel.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's good on him for taking this, because he could have just sat there. He could have chilled, or taken it easy. Maybe he looks at Tony Harrison as an easy touch, but maybe he wants to get him at a good time, which is definitely now kind of thing. So credit for these two making a good fight happen, because neither of them needed to. Well, maybe Tony needed to take it, but from the outside looking in, it's almost like Tony's not really committed to fighting. Really, you've seen him coaching, you've seen him do all this stuff.
Yep.
So credit to them for being old fashioned, making it happen kind of thing, rather than waiting around. But if I was to make a prediction, I'm gonna have to go with Tim Tszyu. I can't lie, especially with it being in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with Tim Tszyu.
It's interesting you say to me that, maybe Tim is looking at Tony as food, or someone he can take out easily
He might be.
I don't think he should. I hope he hasn't. I hope he isn't, because I rate Tony Harrison. I think he's a great boxer. And he boxed superbly when he beat Mel that first time. And he was winning the fight in the rematch up until when he got caught. And he was being super aggressive in the rematch. I felt like he should have just gone back to his boxing, but I think he wanted to make a statement. He was so riled up, and he wanted to make a statement that he could beat this guy up. That he
it's when he got dropped in the second fight. He got dropped in the second fight early, and then he went super aggressive.
He went crazy,
and he was winning as well.
It was winning, but I think he was too aggressive, and he left himself to be open and got caught. But I question how much is left in the tank. But if there is nothing in the tank, because we don't know, we won't see until the night, then he's going to cause problems for Tim Tszyu, just with his boxing, his ability to box on the outside. As you say, he's clearly. I think you can say he's a better boxer out of the two. But Tim Tszyu is coming, who's fresher, a lot more momentum behind him, and Tim Tszyu hits hard. So it's Tony Harrison. It's definitely fair to say Tony Harrison probably would be winning the boxing match up until he gets caught, which is such a shame because that's what's happened a lot of times. Happened with Tony Harrison against Jarry Heard, happened with him against Charlo. It's happened to him before. So it was a damn shame. But Tim can't take Tony Harrison lightly at all. Tony Harrison is someone that has upset the odds before Flowz, and he's been a massive underdog before. And I'm sure he'd be reluctant to do it again, especially the fact that it's in the opponent's backyard. And let's not forget Flowz, the added motivation of the fact that he will want to run it back a third time with Mel. It's 1-1. I want to see that.
Yeah, same.
I want to see that. So I am rooting for Tony Harrison to win this fight because I need that Mel rematch. Because the Mel Harrison Part 2 presser is one of the best boxing pressers of all time. I go back. Flowz, I routinely go back and watch that till this day. Like I'll just be watching the clips from it. The full
combo.
Tony Harrison's performance in those press conferences is A1, one of the best I've ever seen. Because Mel was rattled. Mel was so I've never seen a man so angry before and fuming. So yeah, man, I need it again because I know that there's still bad blood between both of them. And you know me, I like natural needle. And the fact that these two generally don't like each other. So I need to see it. So I'll be rooting for Tony Harrison. I can't look past the fact that he's just not fresh. He's been inactive. And the 2 fights he has fought recently, he hasn't looked the best. So yeah, I do think I'm leaning towards a Tszyu win, but I'll be rooting for Tony for sure. And I really hope he's able to pull off another grand upset to set up that final fight with Mel. Yeah, man, I do think it'll be a good fight because obviously Tim will be pressing the action and Tony should be boxing on the back foot and from the outside. It's going to be hard for Tony to win this, though, to be fair, Flowz, because of the fact that he's in Australia. And boxing, in the way he boxes, very educated, behind the jab, counter puncher. It's so hard to do that in someone else's backyard and win. Like, the judges will always look to, I guess, favor the home fighter with his aggression. And we know Tszyu is aggressive. He's a press forward kind of fighter. So that's why I feel like a point decision, which is what I lean to, because I don't really see him stopping Tszyu. But a point, he's going to really have to box out of his skin, as in like Tszyu's hitting fresh air. You know what I mean?
But Tony can do that to people.
He can do it until he gets caught, Flowz.
He can do it for the most part.
But then he switches off and gets caught. So yeah, I just feel like the inevitable is there's an air of inevitability with this one again. And Tony Harrison could be boxing well up until the point where Tszyu just catches him and detonates on him. And he's a bit chinny, Tony, isn't he? We've seen him go down quite a few times. So yeah, I question whether he can take Tszyu's big bombs. So yeah,
I hope so. I even hope more that it's not a case where he's finished. Like he's even getting beaten. He's getting beaten up in there because once again, long layoff.
Yeah,
his father passed away. He was his trainer. Him not looking great in his last few performances. I hope it's not a case where it's like, yikes, we don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah,
but yeah, hopefully that's not.
Do you agree with me, Flo, that this is kind of his almost last chance kind of thing for him to get the big title fights at light middle?
Yeah. This is it. Because Tszyu's up and coming, really.
Yeah.
If you're losing to an up and coming guy, really, then it's kind of curtains for you. Go back to coaching.
Yeah, because when you think about it, Tszyu's best win is probably he fought Jeff Horn. Obviously, he was a champion, but I'm going to say champion. He's
not beating anyone of note, really.
Terrell Gausha, who we know of in the PBC circuit, but he's not great. Yeah. Or he's nothing like he's one of them standard PBC guys that they roll out. Steve Spark. Takeshi, is that Inoue's brother? It might be, I don't even know. But yeah, this is definitely gonna be his best opponent. 100%. Yeah. 100%. So
it's a necessary step up for him, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because I think, we will say that even maybe the Charlo fight's too early for Tim. You don't go from Gauch to Charlo, but yeah, this is a good marker in terms of where he is. And boy, if he's getting school for the bulk of his fight, then already you're thinking, boy, this guy's not ready for the Mel. He ain't ready for Mel. But yeah, we'll see. I'm sure Mel will be watching this keenly. I'm sure. I'm sure he'll probably have something to say. But I really hope Tony Superbad Harrison could put out one big performance again to set up the Charlo trilogy. That'd be beautiful, man.
It's a good opportunity for Superbad. Yeah, because we're questioning how good Tim Tszyu is. You catch him at the right time, and then he's back in the mix immediately. So,
it's good for both men because we can see now. This is the marker in terms of where we see if Tim Tszyu is the guy. You know what I mean? Is the next one up for that division? Because I still expect Charlo to stop Tim Tszyu. I'll be honest, but this is a nice little marker in terms of how good he is really against a Tony Harrison that should prove a decent opposition for him. So hopefully we'll see. But I look forward to that one. Come on, Tony, please. I need it, man. I need it. When you said I could tell Miles to beat your ass.
He was cooking you. He said Miles cut from a different cloth.
One of the worst cookings ever. One of the worst cookings I've ever seen, man. It's so deep. So funny. Oh man. But yeah. That's it, really, listeners. Like I said, it's a short one, nice, short and concise. Ain't too much going on. Man, we need the blockbusters. I'm counting down the days to Sweet Hands. I can't wait to review that one, Flowz. I can't wait to preview that one as well. Yeah, you know we got some words to say about Benavidez and his actions.
Hey, let's save it for that.
Plant's been cooking it, by the way. I've been cooking it.
That's on to. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. When is it?
25th.
End of the month.
Yeah.
That's a good fight.
We'll save what we have to say for that.
Yeah, let's save it.
Episode 132 of SZN Podcast. Once again, I've been your boy Kam.
I'm your boy Flowz.
And make sure you keep rocking with us, like, subscribe, follow us on all the platforms. Peace.
I'm taking a strap. I'm strapped up.
What was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.